Now, in our first discussion, we have discussed about Indian economy before independence, that is under the British rule. Today, we will discuss about Indian economy after we got independence. Now, in that, following points will be considered. That is, immediately after independence, Indian economy they faced some challenges for the development. So, which we will study per capita income. Now, first of all, what do you mean by per capita income? So, it is a measure of the amount of money earned per person in a nation, or we can say it is the average person income by which we can evaluate the standard of living for population. Then agriculture, industry, service sector, population growth, poverty, unemployment and human development. Per capita income. Now here the per capita income in dollars is given for different countries. Like Norway, it is 63,909, USA 52,308, China, Sri Lanka, then India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. So Bangladesh, it is having lowest per capita income, which is 2,730, and India, which is a developing country, so it is having a per capita income of 5,150, which is lower than that of developed countries like USA and Norway, we can say. And if we compare India's per capita income with developing countries like China, so then also it is less, because China's it is 11,447. Now here we can see the per capita income at current price and here per capita income at constant price. So last 4 to 5 years comparison is shown over here. That is, in year 2011-12 it was 64,316, which increased to 2014-15. In year 2014-15 it increased to 88,533, whereas at constant price in year 2011-12 it was 64,316, and in year 2014-15 it increased to 74,193. Second is agriculture. Now, as we all know that agriculture plays a very important role in Indian economy, because maximum people they get employment in this sector only, and mostly more than half of the population, that is before independence, they were dependent on agriculture only for their livelihood. So the share of agriculture sector in employment has gradually declined, we can say, but it is still relatively higher, depicting lower economic development. Whereas developed nations, they have lesser percentage employment in agriculture and higher or more employment in the industrial and service sector. Now if we talk about the independence time, or at the time of independence, so round about 72% of the population was dependent on agriculture, which has declined to 58% in 2001-2, and again if we see in year 2013-14 it was 49% according to the Human Development Report. Third is industry. Now after agriculture, the second important sector is industry sector. So the contribution of industry sector in employment as well as in national income, it has increased. We can see a decline in agriculture sector employment, and we will have seen an increase in employment in industrial sector. However, India is called a completely industrialized nation from the development criteria, we can say. If we compare last few years data, then we can say the share of industrial sector in employment it was 10.6% in year 1950-51, which has increased to 18.2% in year 2001, and further in year 2011-12 it increased to 24.3%. And if we talk about its share, that is industrial sector share in national income, so its share in national income was 16.6% in year 1950-51, which increased to 26% in year 2013-14. Apart from it, the industrial sector contributes 2/3 of the export earning in the present times. Now comes the third important sector, that is the service sector. So the share of service sector immediately after independence, it was very less, we can say, that is it was 17.3%. In year 2011-12 it increased to 27%. So the share of service sector in national income in year 1951 was 30.3%. In year 1980-81 it was 38%, and if we talk about year 2014-15 it was 52.7%. So we can see that there is an increasing share of service sector in India. Next is population growth. Now, as we all know that the increasing population of India is a matter of concern, and government is taking many measures to control populations. So the growth rate of population in India, it has characterized lower development, and we can say that there is an average annual increase of 1.5% in population after independence. If we compare the data, so in year 1901 the population of India was 23.84 crores, and in year 2001 it was 102.7, and 2011 if we compare, so it further increased to 121.02 crores. So such a high growth rate of population has always remained a matter of concern for our government. Next is poverty. Now Indian economy is characterized by high levels of absolute poverty, and there are many people, those who live below poverty line, that is they are not able to get the basic necessities of life. In year 1973-74 the percentage of population, those who were living below poverty line, it was 54.9%, which decreased to 45.3% in year 1993-94. And if we talk about year 2011-12, so it further decreased to 21.9%. Next question or next topic is unemployment. Now unemployment, if we say, so unemployment is a matter of concern, because if the population or the people, those who are living in a country, if they don't get employment, they will not have any income. If they don't have any income, then they won't be able to satisfy their basic necessities of life, we can say. Now structural unemployment constitutes significant proportion of unemployment in India. Now what do you mean by structural unemployment? That is unemployment caused by mismatch between, that is the skills which a worker have and the skills which is demanded by the employer. That is, both that thing does not match. That is structured unemployment. According to the data, in year 1951, 33 lakh people were unemployed. And according to NSSO report, that is National Sample Survey Organization, in 1999 to 2000, 7.31% of the total population was unemployed, which increased to 8.2% in year 2004-5. However, after that it decreased gradually, but it decreased. That is, in year 2011-12 it was 5.6. In rural areas, if we talk about, so the proportion of disguised unemployment is higher, and disguised unemployment we cannot measure exactly. Next comes is human development. Human development, now we have different indicators or various indicators we have to measure human development, like average life expectancy, literacy, gender ratios, infant mortality rate, and so on. Now, one of the index to measure human development is HDI, that is Human Development Index. And India's HDI in year 2000, it was 0.463. In 2010 it was 0.547, and in year 2013 it was 0.586. So these measures, they are considered very low. And if we talk about India's rank according to HDI report, so India's rank was 136th in the list of total 187 countries. So obviously it is very low. Characteristics of India as a developing economy. Now here we have some important points to be considered. First one is growth rate. So the growth rate of the economy, which is measured by the growth in national output year by year, has increased for the Indian economy, especially after LPG, that is liberalization, privatization and globalization. Now, during the period between 1950-51 and 1990-91, the average annual growth rate was around 3.5%. However, after the period of economic reforms in 1991, the average annual growth rate has remained above 6.8%, which is an important achievement. And after the year 2012-13, the growth rate declined, or it slowed down, we can say. So in year 2014-15, the average annual growth rate was less than 5%. If we talk about net national income at factor cost, that is at constant price level, in year 1951, it was 2,69,724 crores, which increased in year 2013-14. So in year 2013-14, it was 87,51,834 crores. So if we compare the data, we can say that during the 3 years, the NNV has grown by 18 times. Second comes is changing share of various sectors in national income and employment. Now, what do you mean by national income? That is the value of all final goods and services produced in all the sectors of an economy within a year. That is called national income of the country. Now, national income, mostly it is guide, that is from three sectors, that is agriculture and allied activities, industries and services. If we compare the data, so in year 1950-51, the maximum or the highest contribution was from the agriculture sector, that was 53.1, which decreased to 17.6. If we talk about industries or industrial sector, that in year 1950-51 it was 16.6, which increased to 29.7. And if we talk about service sector, it was 30.3 in year 1950-51, which increased to 52.7 in year 2014-15. So we can say that before we got independence or immediately after independence, the maximum contribution that we got, it was from the agriculture sector. But if we talk about today's scenario, the maximum contribution we get from the service sector. Third comes is per capita income. Now per capita income, that is the average income which a person gets. The per capita income of India at constant price in year 1950-51, so it was 7,114, which increased to 39,904 in year 2013-14. So almost about 5.6 times this PCI or per capita income has increased. But between the period from 1950-51 to 1990-91, it increased round about 1.6%, while after 1991 it increased by 5.5%. So we observe that the share of agriculture in the employment has declined over the years, and that of industrial and service sector has increased. Now level of employment. Level of employment, it is mainly divided in three sectors, that is primary sector, industrial sector and service sector. Now primary sector, it includes agriculture and allied activities, dairy farming, animal husbandry, whereas secondary sector, or we can say that is industrial sector. So industrial sector, it includes manufacturing and construction, mining. So we can say that is all the production activities that is included in industrial sector. And third comes is service sector. So service sector, it includes trade, transport, banking, health, education, information and broadcasting, all the fields which provide services. Now if we compare the data from year 1951 to year 2011-12, so the maximum employment was in primary sector in year 1951, which gradually decreased or it declined in next years, and in year 2011-12 it was 48.9. If we talk about industrial sector, so in year 1951 it was 10.6, which increased to 24.2 in year 2011-12. And if we talk about service sector, so we can see that in year 1951 it was 17.3, which increased to 26.9 in year 2011-12. So thus what we can say or what we can conclude from this table, that is from year 1951 to year 2011-12, the employment has shifted from primary sector to industrial and service sector. That is where before in year 1951 the maximum employment was provided by the primary or agriculture sector activities, but in year 2011-12 the focus or it shifted on in industrial sector and service sector. Improvement in basic or the primary utilities, we can say. So there are 5 things, that is irrigation, literacy, electricity, road network and railway. Now India has shown significant improvement in provision of various utilities in the urban as well as in the rural areas, like to supply water or construction of roads, irrigation facilities, communication facilities, health and education services, etc. Now first one, irrigation. If we compare the data of all these utilities, irrigation. So in year 1950-51, only 22.6 hectare of land across the country was irrigated, which increased to 63 in year 2012-13. So we can say that is about 45% of the total agricultural land has irrigation facilities in present times. Second is literacy. So in year 2011 the literacy rate was 18.33%, and in year 2011 it increased to 73% according to the economic survey report. In 1950s we were having 20 universities and 500 colleges, which increased to 719 and 35,000 respectively in year 2013-14. That is there was an increase in education or literacy rate, we can say. Third one is electricity. So the electricity generation, which was around 2300 megawatt in year 1950-51, it increased to 2,43,000 megawatt in year 2011-12. Road network. Now in present times India belongs to the list of countries with longest road network, and it has approximately 48.6 lakh kilometer of concrete roads today. Now as we all know, the government is taking initiative to make roads so that they can connect villages to the outer side world. Apart from it, the roads are constructed so that villages can be easily connected to the cities. The goods can be transported easily. Next comes is railway. Now Indian Railway, so its network is the 4th largest with a length of 65,000 kilometers. And Indian Railways, it is progressing very fast. The per capita consumption of essential commodities had increased, and apart from it, progress is made in areas of research and technology development. Average life expectancy has increased. In the international comparison program initiated by the World Bank in year 2011, India was identified as the 3rd largest country after USA and China, while in 2005 India was at the 10th position. So if we compare the data before British rule, that is before independence, and after the independence of the country, so we can say the main focus or the employment has shifted from the primary sector, that is from the agriculture sector, to the industrial and service sector. Apart from it, many development has taken place in our country, but still some areas are there where we need to put more efforts.